Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. Let me just So I've made some oils just to remind myself. Speak with grace and compassion. This one is an amazing, amazing oil blend. Essential oils that really help me, really help me to just chill out for the whole day. So, how are you guys doing this morning? I was going to do a meditation. Let me shut off my sound, because if not, that's all you guys are going to hear. So this morning, I totally was like, I want to do a morning meditation. And then I broke the bed. It broke. And then I was like, no, I don't want to meditate anymore. What could I do? So I went and washed my face, and I was like, oh, look, it's my kitty ears. For those of you who haven't been on this journey with me for too long, for about a year, I was just obsessed with kitties. For a whole year, it just became fever pitched. And I was just like, I want to be a kitty. I just want to be a kitty. And I found these ears, these kind of started it off when I was down in Texas. Now, rewinding it back, I lived in my RV for about 2.5 years with a family of 6 and 3 fur babies. At first, it was just 1 fur baby, a big fat one. And then it became 3 fur babies after we left Port Arthur, Texas. So at the height of my kitty frenzy, I took it upon myself to volunteer to go with my family down to Port Arthur, Texas, because that area was so heavily hit by flooding that occurred with, was it Hurricane Harvey or something like that? I forget the name of the hurricane. But we took our RV down to Texas, and I remember going to one of the shops. I needed some more beads, and I saw this, and I was like, oh, bougie kitty. And so I got it, and I wore it all the time because I was just like, I'm a bougie kitty. I'm a bougie kitty. And that kind of just seeing it this morning, after I decided I just did not want to meditate today, I was like, we'll talk about my life in the RV. So for 2.5 years, I lived in an RV with my kids, my husband, and my fur babies. It was crazy. It was a crazy adventure. We traveled nonstop. We weren't just hooked into one place. We literally were off grid. There was a lot of dry camping. If you guys don't know what that is, dry camping, primitive camping, it's when you have no running water, no nothing. At one point, we went parking lot pimping. That's, parking lot pimping. We learned all the little hacks that you could possibly have living in an RV. So here's the thing. IKEA, they sell these like little, almost like mini track lights that are battery operated. Public parks, some of them, especially if they have a bathroom or like a pavilion area, they typically have outlets, rechargeable batteries. So you go to a public park, charge up your batteries, let the kids play, have a little picnic. And then at night you have track lights, and they're LED, so they're very low maintenance. They take up very little bit of battery charge. And you just have one in the back, one in the front, and it provides you with enough light. And then for the times where we really, it was going to be a prolonged period, it just so happened the season that we were in was a season that people wanted to garden. And, so you could go to Walmart and they have those in-ground stake thingies. They're like walkway lights. They're about this big, and it has a small lantern at the top. It's solar charged. And so I figured, well, there's a lot of sunlight everywhere. So what we would do, they work as tea lights. If you dismantle it, you simply let it charge during the day, and then you turn it upside down, and it's like you have tea lights. So, and those were only like $1 each. So we had a whole bunch of those. We had bought a brand new fridge for the RV. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the wiring was faulty. I don't know. But we didn't have a fridge in the RV. That was horrible. That was horrible. For 2.5 years, we didn't have a fridge. So what we would do, because an RV fridge, typically it can run on gas or electric. So when you're plugged in, if you have a power source and you're plugged in, say at like an RV park, it will run on electric. And if not, you have gas. It runs off propane as well. We had this beautiful brand new RV fridge that worked as storage. It was just our storage. I was like, this sucks. So what we would do, we had coolers and we would just put ice, and all our food had to be bought basically daily or every other day, which was fine. That was fine. But we were regulars at all kind of different grocery stores. Like if we're in the area, we're regulars. And so like so many different states know my family at this point. Like, why are they always in here? Don't worry, okay? We're just buying food. But yeah, it was interesting. You really, because our RV was really old. Like, I think it was like 24 years old, 25 years old, somewhere around there. It was built in 94. And so there was nothing luxurious about it. It was like 39 feet. It could fit us. It's 39 feet. We completely gutted it. And then I had this bright idea of purchasing IKEA stuff. We purchased IKEA stuff to outfit the RV, and I just was not in the right mindset. I was going through a lot of shit at that point in my life. IKEA is not the place to buy RV furniture. I still have the RV. It's in storage. I still have the RV. It's just like, so a lot of the shelving at IKEA, no matter how sleek and beautiful it looks and like lacquered finish, that shit is cardboard. It's hollow and cardboard in the center, not solid cardboard. I was just like, I did not know. So I'm over here with power tools. Of course, my husband helped, but it was primarily me because this is just my thing. I love power tools. And that shit, I was mounting it into the subflooring. And so I drilled a hole, like a hole, to thread the wiring through. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Cardboard? I was like, oh shit. This is so not gonna last. It lasted 2.5 years. It's still there, but it's when you drive, I was just like, fucking IKEA. So, was I awakening at the time? I didn't have an awakening moment. I'm kind of just odd like that. I've just always been this way for my whole life. I wasn't like a regular kid. I've always been really intense, really smart ashes, smart ashes, and just yeah. I've always been like this. But during that time, I was going through a massive ascension cycle. When we left with the RV, because my mom had gifted it to me, and the family wasn't using it. It'd just been sitting. And at that time, it was really, really hard. It was really, really hard. What ended up happening, the reason I was in an RV in the first place was because Soul had been having me travel coast to coast for about a year already. And we just kept loading up our van, hotel hopping. And I was just like, I told Michael, Archangel Michael, because he talks to me sometimes. I told him, if you really want me to not fight this, if this is really what my soul needs me to do, is just travel nonstop, you're going to have to give me an RV, because my kids need to have their things with them, reasonable amount of things with them, have their own space and be comfortable, instead of being uprooted every few days and taken to another state and another freaking hotel. If this is what my soul work is supposed to do, my kids need their own space. And I was so serious. I was like, make that shit happen, Mikey. I kid you not. Within like 48 hours, my mom is like, do you want the RV? I was like, shit. Because I was telling Mike, if not, I need to be back in a house. I'm sick of this hotel shit. And I mean, we were staying at very decent hotels. We wouldn't stay at like no trap house hotels. Okay. The one time I made the mistake of that shit was not cute. That shit was not cute. Did I already have the RV? I think this was a little bit before I got the RV. I had to go back to Arizona. God forsaken ass place. I had to go back to Arizona for some serious shit that I had to take care of. And we went to this hotel. And it was just, I was like, this is hella seedy. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. This is really icky. And I knew that there was a pimp there, and he had like, I think 2 or 3 prostitutes on the other side of the building. And I was like, I really don't want to be here. And the whole thing was that I had to stay for a very serious meeting. My husband had to go back to Colorado for work. So obviously he can't take the kids. So it was going to be me and the kids that were staying. Me and the kids that were staying for maybe a week while my husband goes back to work. He flies back to Colorado. And then I was going to drive back to Colorado with the kids, just me and the kids. And the day before he was supposed to fly out, I was in because we had a Sienna at the time. I was in the trunk of the Sienna kind of fixing things. And I'm really empathic. If I don't watch myself, if I don't create a lot of walls around me, I can hear people's thoughts really, really easily, 0 effort. Like it's just bombarding me. And so I start hearing, she'd make a really good dollar. I was like, and I looked around and the pimp was walking behind the, gross. He was walking behind my van, looking into the van at me. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. You best believe, we travel with our firearms because we just don't know what area we're going to be brought to. Like, energy work is nice and dandy, but you got to be realistic. Seriously. I have no intention of harming anyone else, but I also have no intention of falling victim to anyone else. If you're going to try and harm my children, I will shoot you. You know what I mean? Like, that's not my intention. But if you intend to harm us, I'm not going to make that easy for you. And so I was just like, oh my God, where is the clock? And he just kept walking. And then he crossed the parking lot and was watching me from across the parking lot. And my husband is very, he likes to play like he's normal. He's not normal. I think he probably felt my anxiety, like boom, boom, boom. All of this happened. And then I turned around and I looked, and he was, next thing you know, standing beside the van with his Glock in the container. He's like, are you done yet? So I was like, did you see that guy walk past? And he was like, yeah, I felt that shit. I was like, I don't want to stay here without you. Yeah, that was probably the only time in my life where I was just like, no, I don't want to be here. It was bad. It was really, really bad. But what ended up happening not long after that, because I was like, if we're staying without you, I'm not staying at this hotel. I don't care. You're taking me to the bougie part of town. Take me to fucking Scottsdale. Leave me in Scottsdale, not in fucking outskirts of Maryvale. If y'all are familiar with Arizona, y'all know what Maryvale is. Don't go to Maryvale. I lived there for a few months. It's not, if you live in one of the houses, it's not necessarily bad, but the hotels, don't do it. Go stay in Scottsdale. Stay in Scottsdale, okay? So like after that happened, not long after it happened, I ended up getting a phone call, and the whole meeting was basically dismissed. And so we were able to leave together right then and there. I was like, I don't even want to stay a day. I don't care if they've already charged us. I'm out. I'm not getting kidnapped and trafficked. I'm not going to agree to that. So we left. And then not long after that, I do believe I ended up, a couple months later, I ended up with the RV. So for 2.5 years, we lived in the RV, and we just traveled nonstop. And it was really a beautiful, crazy, but beautiful experience. When you live in a 39-foot RV with that many people and animals in there, you really, really begin to realize what's important in life. You have a very limited amount of space. And most of the time we were on the road, so no Wi-Fi, no internet, no electricity. And it really regulated how much electronics me and my family were using. It was beautiful. By the time we would arrive at RV parks, the kids were very excited to see what was around, and you know, going to different states. Like my kids are aware that each state and various regions within certain states have such a different mindset. The people are so different from each other. It really gets you to see how much variety there is. Even within one nation, there's so much variety. And they've really witnessed quite a few things. There's been quite a few states where the moment we walk in to like a Walmart or whatever, the whole store will stop and they'll stare. And for the first, I guess for the first few months, when that would happen, actually for the first year, I want to say the first year, when that would happen, it would really, like, it would upset my husband. He's used to Bay Area, where there's a lot of, San Francisco Bay Area, where there's a lot of diversity and people are used to seeing brown Asians. I think that's what really, what really confused people, especially like Bible Belt area, kind of in the more remote areas of the South. Uh, they're like, y'all are kind of brown for Asian. Y'all are kind of brown for you. Y'all are kind of Chinese looking for Mexican. They couldn't figure out what we were. And so I was just like, you guys, you can't take it personally if they've never seen a Filipino, don't even know what Filipinos are. Of course, they're going to stare. And it really has nothing to do with us. Don't take it personal. If people are staring and just gawking, it's curiosity. You're a fucking unicorn. You are a unicorn. Embrace that shit. And and after a while, you know, my kids acclimated pretty quickly. They're just like, they've never seen unicorns like us. And then, you know, at this point, my husband don't care. You know, if you stare, he doesn't care anymore. It used to really bother him, but now he doesn't care. So it's really shown us the differences in areas. It's shown us that, you know, racism still is alive. Discrimination still is alive. And there's a lot of things that still need to be worked on by humanity. A lot of the things that we did, there was a lot of speaking with homeless people nationwide. It was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful to see my husband's growth during this process, because I don't know if he wants me to say this. He has lived a very spoiled life with his family. Didn't really do chores, was really catered to. His mama really spoiled him. And living in an RV, man, he had to do quite a bit. Like, my hands are not strong at all. I mean, they're strong enough to soft slap, you know, but my joints are very delicate. My joints are very delicate. And so if I, you know, because my mind really is just like, you could do it, girl, you could do it. And next thing you know, my fingers dislocated trying to open a pickle jar. I can't do that shit. And so he's been the one that's had to do all of the RV stuff, like draining the tanks, refilling the water tanks. That was really eye-opening for me, seeing how much he was willing to do to get our family situated every single time, how the distances that we would drive. And he wouldn't complain about being exhausted, whereas before he would just be like, I'm tired. Like, you think I care? You need to get up. But no, as soon as we were in an RV, all of that kind of just went away. He was fully on board with everything. I didn't have to ask him to do anything. So many times, I'd be like, where the hell did he go? And he's outside fixing something. So it was a good experience. It was a really good experience. There were quite a few states that I kept having to drive through. And I recognized later on those states, everywhere I go, it's like I leave a trail of energetic fire. Everything in the South is fucking ablaze. Everything in the South is just on fire. Emmy fire. From Eastern Texas all the way to the Pacific. And then halfway up. Yeah, no, I guess that's my region to set ablaze. But yeah, it was a lot of back and forth and back and forth. We never really had any set schedule. We never really had any direction. It was just this, okay, God, where are you sending me today? Who needs me today? And where are you sending me? And it always worked so that we had the things that we needed to help the people that needed help in that area. It was just really, really weird how that worked out that way. Like we gave quite a bit, quite a bit. And there was no feeling of like, oh God, oh, we have to help someone else. No, it was like, what do we have? Well, what's in the pantry? Go get some extra food when you go and grocery shop. And one of the most beautiful things, I still remember this. It's back in Arizona. It's back in Arizona. We had gone to Arizona because I wanted to buy a new RV. I was just like, fuck this 25-year-old RV. This shit's falling apart. It really was. It really was. So we drove to Arizona to go try and purchase a new RV. And we had to go to Walmart. It was late at night. It was late at night. And this guy walks up to us. And he was just like, if you say no, it's okay. It's okay. But I have to ask. He tells me he had lost his job. He has no money. And he's just trying to get stuff for his kids because he has little girls. And, I was just like, well, what do you need? And he said he needed diapers, he needed some food, just whatever. We didn't have to get much, whatever we could get. He'd been trying since like 11 in the morning and no one wanted to help him. And he's sorry that he had to ask and all this stuff. I was just like, no, it's okay. We're going to go grocery shopping first. Are you going to be here for a while? And he said, yeah, he'll wait. So we went and grocery shopped. And there's just something about like when someone needs something, especially if I'm going in the store, it's like Christmas time. What can I get for them? So we got him all the diapers he needed, like the biggest box we could find. We got them groceries. We got them dinner. We got his kids like some kids snacks because kids love kids snacks. They like the little packaging snack size portions. So we got them some of that. And then we went outside and we found him again. And you remember him, right? My husband remembers him. It just makes me sad when people just want to take care of their families. And then they're begging and begging and begging for hours and hours and hours. And it's like they're made to feel so ashamed, so embarrassed and so ashamed that they're trying to take care of their children. And I still remember him. And he was just like, I'm so sorry I had to ask and this and that. And I looked him in the eyes and I was like, there was nothing shameful about what you did. You're being an amazing father. Your children are very, very lucky to have you because, not all fathers are willing to do that. Not all fathers are willing to put aside their pride and be in a parking lot for 12 hours in Arizona heat. It was summertime. In Arizona heat, asking for help. It takes a real man to ask for help. Oh, he was legit. He was legit. Yeah, no, he had tears in his eyes. He was legit. When we handed him the diapers, he was walking away. I said, no, wait. All of this is yours. We just wanted to get ice cream for our kids. So we gave him all those groceries and he was like, and he thought it was just diapers that we were getting for him. And see, that's the thing, Robin. What ends up happening is we have such a mistrust of each other. This mistrust is very cultivated. It's part of the draconian paradigm we exist within. This distrust, this assumption that everyone is out to just fuck everyone else over. You follow your heart. If you feel like you need to help someone, then you help someone. It's not like, are they being lazy? Are they being honest? If in your heart you feel you need to help someone, then help them. If you feel you need to give whatever little bit of cash you need to give, it doesn't matter if they're going to buy alcohol with it or whatever. Let them decide. Honor their sovereignty, but do what feels right in your heart. Because there's been times where, like I'm sure Daddy remembers this. There was this lady. We went out on a date. We usually don't go out on a date, but this one time we did. We went to go watch a movie. And this lady stops us in the parking lot. She gives us this sob story about how she hasn't eaten. She just wants to eat and blah, 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 blah. I knew she was a crackhead. I knew she had a drug issue. And, so I started talking to her and I was like, you're loved. You haven't been forgotten about. And if you wait right here, we'll get you some food. And we were gone. I told her, like, give us like 15 minutes. And we just went to the other side of the parking lot, got a whole shit ton of food, more food than just one meal. Because I figured, okay, we'll get her more than just one meal so that she could eat later tonight too. And we got a ton of food, enough food for maybe like 5 or 6 people when she said it's just her and her daughter. And we go back and she's gone. We're like driving round and round looking for her and she's gone. And in that moment, I was just like, that's so fucked up. That's why I'm not going to help no one no more. And it just so happens there was this other guy who looked like fucking Jesus. He looked like Jesus, like the paintings of Jesus. He had the long hair and everything. I was like, hey, Jesus is on the corner. Let's give Jesus the food. Because I think he had a cardboard sign that said like hungry or something like that. And he had a backpack. And so we gave him the food. And at that point, I was kind of just like, we're not going to eat this food. Just fucking give it to him. If he throws it away, if he's faking it, whatever. It's out of our hands. Let's just give it to him. And when we stopped and gave him the food, he was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Yeah, he packed up and he left. He's like, I'm bringing this back to my family. Oh my God. And you can just tell, if you give someone something, if they're homeless and you give them food or whatever, and they don't eat it right then and there, or they're kind of like, oh, thanks, then they probably didn't need it. That's fine. That's fine. That has nothing to do with your heart. Their reaction, their response, their needs has nothing to do with your heart. It really, really doesn't. And so if you give and someone's not grateful or they were faking it, you still followed your heart. You still followed the guidance from within you that's helping you to practice staying within your grace, to really practice living with compassion. And so that's all it is. That's all it is. It's something for you. That's why I don't really talk too much about what I do for other people, because that's for me. That's my own personal thing. It benefits me and my heart. And so a lot of people have this, and it's not to judge people who think this way, because again, we exist in a paradigm that conditions you to think this way. It conditions you to not trust in other people. That's how this system works. It's not broken. That's how it's supposed to work. That's why all of these new children are being born at this time, because we are cultivating the change that we need. That's why these children are not listening to authority. That's why they're being labeled with, like, what is that? Opposition defiant disorder, whatever the hell it is. They have no disorder. They don't. They don't like the bullshit that you're trying to force on them. And you can't force them to bend to your will. They're an evolved type of human. You can't do that to an evolved type of human. I don't care how young they are. They know their sovereignty. It's intact at birth. And they won't bend to you. Like my kids, you can't tell them to do shit. You can't be like, you better do this because I said so. They'll be like, what's wrong with you? I'm not even joking. But if you say, I really need you to help me out and do this. We are a family. We help each other out. And of course, they'll complain, but they'll do it. They'll do it. But if you say, you better do this, they won't do it. I'd be like, they'll give you attitude. Hey, you know what? Would you like someone coming to you and saying that? Would you like your boss telling you that? Or do you need your boss to be like, we need this done by this time. If you could please get that done. You know what I mean? So these kids, they don't have attitude problems. For the most part, it's really not an issue with them. It's an issue with parents wanting the easy way out, parents demanding compliance. And when you're dealing with a sovereign, you can't do that. You just can't. And if you raise them to not respect you, then they won't. They won't. There's times, I have a teenager. And he's extremely intelligent. And boy, he knows how to cut people down if you trigger him. And there's times where I trigger him, not intentionally, but as a parent, because I have very real boundaries. And like, he'll try and snap back. And I'm like, you better rub your eyes and recognize who you're talking to. He won't test it. He'll be like, I'm sorry, you're breathing a little loud. Is there something you need to say? And I'd be like, no, Mom. I'm like, okay. Because if there's something you need to say, you should say it out loud instead of breathing really rude. And he knows. He knows. Yeah, see? Lack of tram as an 18-year. I don't have daughters. I have all sons. So they like, okay, Mommy's the queen. Mommy will string us up. Yeah. My husband says he questions you when you ask him to do something. If it doesn't resonate with him, he'll speak up. He'll absolutely speak up, And if you disrespect if you close yourself off to what he's trying to express, he'll have a huge issue with that. We got into a huge issue with my mom's dialysis center because he was attempting to advocate for her, and they dismissed him. He was so freaking mad. He ended up calling me at 6 a.m. because he's just like, my mom gonna know about this. So yeah, no, if you raise them, and I don't have all the answers for parenting. I just do whatever feels right for me and my children. But if you raise them to know they can talk to you, that they can express themselves, but they have to do so with respect, then they will. They'll respect you. They'll be able to talk to you. There's a lot of things that occur within their minds that they don't express because they're embarrassed or ashamed or feeling as though they're not going to be listened to. And yeah, the dynamics between my husband and I it's amazing because I can be the hard ass parent and really enforce things. And he goes and talks to his dad. He's like, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Mom's being too much. And then my husband will tell me he didn't like that shit. Well, too freaking bad. He picked me for his mom. So let's see what you guys are saying. Bobby says her nephew is like that and he struggles in school because of it. See, we homeschooled for pretty much forever. And the new kids, they struggle in school because of that. For a while, the homeschooling we did was through a program. And it's basically like public school, but it's home-based. It's a virtual school. And they would do their lessons online. That works amazingly. If you want to travel with your children and you want to live in an RV or travel abroad, doesn't matter. There's a program, it's called K-12. I believe all 50 states allow K-12. And so K-12, it's a public school. And if your state participates in it, then all the material is free. They ship you all of the material. And if your income qualifies, they'll even give you a loaner computer, a full-on computer setup with printer and everything. They'll also reimburse you for, they'll give you a check for Wi-Fi, for internet access. And you get assigned a teacher, and you get audited every quarter. So you have to meet with your teacher. You can do a video chat, meet in person, whatever. And they'll just kind of ask your kids some questions to make sure they've done the work. You turn in work samples. And so it's accredited, state accredited. And it counts as a legitimate school. And so we did that for a bit. When we lived in Las Vegas, my son was like, I want to say he was 13 at the time. I think he was 13. And he's several grades above his age mates. So he was already like doing advanced work. So he's in a lecture hall, a high school lecture hall. And all the students, they have microphones, okay? They can interact with a teacher. And the teacher says, I don't partake in cannabis. I'm a huge proponent of the medicinal use of cannabis. I have a huge appreciation for the potency of this plant. I don't use it recreationally or at all. Aside from intermittent CBD supplementation, I don't partake in THC at all. But my son is aware, you know, he's aware. So the teacher, I think it was like biology or something. The teacher tells the lecture hall that cannabis causes cancer. And if you smoke it even once, you are at high risk of developing cancer. And my son interrupted the entire class. Was he 12? He interrupts the entire class. And he goes, I'm sorry, can you please cite where you get this information from? Where did you find this research? And I think the teacher ignored him. And so he put himself on mute and he starts yelling for me. He's, Mom, why are you wasting my time with this shit? He was so mad. He's like, do you know what the teacher just told the class? And then he tells me this. I was like, well, that's bullshit. And he was like, yes, fucking lies. He was so mad. He typically is not allowed to use curse words with me. I'm just like, look, I may use curse words. I know it's quite a bit of a double standard. It's hypocritical. I don't feel comfortable with you using that intensity around me. But so he's like cussing it out. I was like, yep, son, what'd she say? And he's like, this program is a waste of my time. I was just like, well, what did you say to her? And he's like, I wanted her to cite where she got this information. I want studies proving this. And I was like, oh, fuck. Did you say that in front of the class? He goes, yeah. And it's just like, okay, so, okay. I didn't know what else to say. So we pulled him out of the program and I told him, like, look, if you're going to be fighting me about, you know, you're trying to pretend like you're doing your work and you're not actually doing your work, you're going to have a problem. If you don't want to be in this program, then you're going to have to find a legitimate program that can substitute and qualify for high school credits. And if you don't, your ass is going back to a regular brick and mortar high school. I said, you got 48 hours to show me various options for your education. You want to act all grown at 12? You got 48 hours, or I'm enrolling you in that ghetto ass high school down the road. And mind you, we just saw on the news, there was no way I was going to put him in that ghetto ass high school. But I had to say it. But we just saw on the news that one of the students, I think, just murdered another student and that they were out on bail. And I was like, look at that shit. That's who you're going to be in a class with. Okay, you better find some options. You got 48 hours. So he found options. Your children will only go as far as they know you expect them to go. Okay, they're a lot fucking smarter than you give them credit for. Regardless of whether they struggle in school or not, your children are a lot fucking smarter than any adult gives them credit for. I told him that. He researched. By the next morning, because this was at night, I got real upset with him because that lecture hall thing happened. And then I had asked him if he had done his work. And then when I looked, because I typically don't look at their stuff, I like to give them the feeling that I trust them. But when I looked and I saw things hadn't been, I was livid. I was like, I will not play this shit with you. I will not play this shit. Don't think you're going to try this lying to me, keeping secrets. I'm trying to give you that respect and give you your privacy, and you're doing this. You done fucked up, kid. I don't play this. And so by the next morning, because he was like, by the next morning, he had some options. He found edX. Is it edX? I forget what it is. It's a website where they allow you to audit Ivy League courses. And so since he was tall, he's been taking college courses. He's 17 now. He's about to turn 18. He's been taking college courses for high school credit. And now I'm like, so, well, what are we doing? Are we going to test GED so that you can just be done with this high school shit that's wasting your time? Use the college credits towards whatever course you want to take. So he's now taking a preparatory program to test out of high school and use college credits towards whatever degree he wants. But yeah, he found a program. He found a program for real, sure. And so if you really just allow your children to recognize that you recognize that they're intelligent, they'll rise up to that. They'll really, really rise up to that. And at no point was it like, you're so stupid. And no, it's always this, don't try and play me. I know how smart you are. Okay? Don't play that game with me because I'm not going to play. As your mother who spends all day with you, I know how smart you are. I know, my child, don't try and play that. I don't know. You don't know. Figure it out. Figure it out. If you need help figuring it out, tell me and we'll help you figure it out. Don't play that I don't know stuff. Right? He's like, right? Yeah. And we've done this through living in an RV for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. We've lived in an RV. I'm not ever setting foot in an RV again. Fuck that shit. I need a house. I need a house. But it really did help my spiritual journey. Being detached from material things, it helps you to calibrate your understanding of what you should be attached to. Going through state to state to state and meeting so many different people, it really gives you a sense of where exactly home is, what exactly family is. And sometimes people couldn't reach me for prolonged periods. Like the outside world couldn't reach me for prolonged periods. And well, no, I don't even want to be in a nice RV. I want to be in a house with a foundation and a basement. And at least a certain amount of square foot. We've talked about this, haven't we? I don't even want a nice RV at all. No RVs at all. At all. When we travel, it's going to be in an airplane. I don't care if it's just the next state over. I'm done with RVs. There's no way I'm going to agree to be in an RV because the last time I agreed to be in an RV, Michael stuck us in that shit for 2.5 years. No, Mikey. No more RVs. You want me to go somewhere? Get me a plane ticket and I will fly there. Efficiency. Efficiency. Hold on, guys. All right. What do you guys want to know about living in an RV? Ask me some questions. Actually, let me see. Yeah, they were definitely telling lies to the students. It's not the first time. One of my children's books or the tests, it was something about how, was it George W. Bush, the younger son? Is it George W. Bush? He saved the U.S. from the United States from terrorism. And then it talks about how the Muslims did the 9/11. And my son, okay, he's been tapped in since day one. And I had friends who were tapped in. So when he was around 5 or 6, he was around 5. He was around 5. No. He was 4. 3 or 4 years old because he wasn't going to school yet. He was around 3 or 4 years old. I was doing photography for fashion and editorial. And one of the models that I worked with, she was really tapped in. Her boyfriend, he had a lot of information. And so they gave us a CD. This DVD was called Loose Change. If you haven't seen that yet, you should go watch it. Loose Change, the 9/11 story. My son watched it, and in the homework, it said about how the Muslims did 9/11, and he's like, "Mom, look at this," and I was like, "That's bullshit." And he's like, "I know, that was an inside job." It's like, Sahibi Noah. How do you keep strong boundaries with each other living in the RV? Everyone kind of had their own little nook to retreat to. There was a lot of learning when someone is getting pushed to their edge, when to back away a little bit. There was a lot of learning for especially for my children, of when to kind of just bite your tongue. You don't always have to have the last word. And there always has to be at least one person, and this is if you're traveling with your whole family, but there always has to be at least one person who can recognize that something's brewing and be like, look, recognize where this is heading, knock it off. Be quiet for a little bit, figure out what you're actually mad about, stop taking it out on other people. Just the verbalizing of like, hey, there's something going on internally, figure that out. Don't lash out at everyone, figure it out. There's also, everyone has to kind of have their set things, chores that they're supposed to do. If it's just adults, then you guys have to know like who's going to do what. And when you do that, then everyone's kind of held responsible, accountable for their portion. And when you don't do your work, you're slacking, and the other person can call you out. Just a reminder like, hey, you didn't get that done. Because if not, then what ends up happening is one individual will feel like they're doing everything and get really all bitter and stuff and lash out at everyone. Yeah. Yes. There were quite a bit of interesting things that were in the towers that fell. Also Building 7, which wasn't struck by a plane. But that shit fell into its own footprint. That don't make sense. What really happened, I don't know. I won't claim to know. But none of the official story makes sense. Not to me, at least. What else do you guys want to know about living in an RV? So, okay, with the RV, if you're going to live in it during wintertime, you definitely have to make sure you winterize your shit. We had our entire water system screwed because we spent one night in freezing temps in Colorado. It burst our tank, which was a freaking steel tank. So we were out of water. messed up our water pump. It's just, you have to know to winterize. Okay. Also, you learn very quickly how much water you go through, like for a shower and all of that. You don't get the luxury of just standing there in the hot shower, like, washing the stress away. No. You have limited hot water. You do that, you're screwed, because randomly it's just cold ass water. Mm-mm. I learned to wet my body real quick, shut off the water, start scrubbing everything with soap, and then turn on the hot water and rinse everything off, and then just stand there until all the water's gone. Water hog. You got to do it quick. You definitely got to do it quick. And then you also start to figure out how much electricity factors into your life, into your comfort level. You really begin to realize exactly how much you're consuming. A lot of people buy things that they don't need, like little knickknacks here and there, $5 here, $10 there, $20. And all of that adds up. And you don't realize that, because when you live in a house, you shove it in a closet, under the bed. When you live in an RV, that's just not going to work. Our RV ended up looking like a hoarder ass RV on wheels by the time we were ready to be out of it. And that's primarily because all my work stuff, inventory, sword making stuff, all of that took so much space. But, you know, we have a big family. So if you have a big family, or, you know, like more than 3 people, I would definitely buy a bunkhouse RV where you have bunk beds. And so each person can have their own little platform, or they can keep some of their knickknacks and retreat to. How do you keep your sanity being around only male energy in a confined space in the RV for so long? I'm a fucking man too. I was just, you know what? Here's the thing. I do have extremely masculine energy. Being around males is all I know. I have nothing but brothers. And that's all I know, being around males. But what really, really helped, because I would fucking go crazy if I had to be in an RV with my brothers for 2.5 years. I wouldn't. They pee on the toilet seat. It's like, do you not aim? When you pee, do you not aim? Like, what the fuck? Not all my brothers. One of them doesn't do that. The other 2. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? You're grown already. Do you not aim that shit? But what really, really helped is the fact that the person that I'm married to absolutely aims, and he has an issue with anything being on the seat. So he has like really, really driven it into our boys. Like, no, we don't disrespect the seat like that. We don't let mommy's ass touch pee. So yeah, I mean, that really helped. That really helped. And you know, honestly, it really will help you to figure out if the person who you've decided to spend your life with, your life partner, is really the person you want to be with, because those are very close quarters. You know, they should have a law where before you get married, you are required to live for 6 months in an RV with your fiance. You'll know real fucking quick. You will know real fucking quick if that person is who you want to spend your life with. Yeah, my kids don't do that. My husband doesn't do that. He even does under the seat checks, like, who the fuck did this? I'm like, thank you, daddy. I never have to have that issue. So, pee with your eyes closed. Whatever y'all do, clean it up when you're done. But, yeah, no, a lot of it has to do with just having a concentrated area with your own space. For me, I have this chest that I used. It had all my sacred things in it, and they knew. And I didn't see. That's the beautiful thing about the way my family works. I don't really have to tell them things. We're just very sensitive to each other, and so they just know. You know what I mean? Um, and I think a lot of that has to do with uh, the person that I've chosen to live my life with. You know, he really makes it a point to not just be mindful of my needs and my emotions. He teaches, he actively teaches our children to be that way. You know, like I have no doubt in my mind that my sons are going to make an amazing life partner for whoever it is they choose to be with. They're very attentive to the needs of someone else. Um, you typically don't even have to ask them for things. They pay attention and they offer help. Hey, do you need help? Like we come home from, they know that we went to the store. We don't have to say like, hey, we're going grocery shopping. You need to come out and help us when we get home. It's just like they hear we come home and they open the garage door. Hey, do you guys need help bringing groceries? You know, you have to cultivate this. You can't expect a child who isn't shown love and support to be loving and supporting. That's not fair. So you are modeling for your children how to treat you in the way you treat them. It's just how it is. It's how it is. Let's see. To me, you have to like the person, your partner, like them as a person, but it takes so long to get to know someone. I still don't think I know myself, and I'm 40. I still don't know myself. Do you have to know yourself? Sometimes it's the relationship that you're in, and it could be a relationship that fails. It doesn't have to be the relationship that lasts for your entire life. Sometimes it's that failed relationship that helps you learn just a little bit more about yourself. This concept of no one can truly love you until you love yourself is bullshit. Sometimes it's in that other person trying to love you with you not knowing who you are that you learn to love yourself. That's exactly what happened with me. That's exactly what happened with me. I had a really, really twisted concept of love until I met my husband. Mhm. That's all I gotta say about you know, he really taught me what true power is. Like it's not in the fist and your ability to like knuckle up, and because that's what I was taught. That's literally what I was taught. Like my father went out of his way to raise a savage. Like he literally went out of his way. Like, you know, someone disrespects you, you knuckle up. Don't show fear. Don't cry. I'm just like, but and so that's why, I mean, you guys see me in my live streams. I have no problem. You want to get combative? I got no problem. I'll reflect that. No problem. But my husband, he's taught me like that. No, you don't gotta fight everybody. Why do you always want to fight people? And I'm just like, I don't know. That's what I know. But had I really subscribed to that mindset of no one can love me until I learn to love myself. Do I love myself right now? Sometimes. Do I love myself all the time? No. Do I appreciate myself all the time? No. Half the time, I don't even understand why people watch my live streams. Like to me, it's just like that's just my life. Like, what's so interesting about that? So, do you have to know yourself, understand your life, your path, and all? No, that's what living is. The moment you understand all of that, the moment you've learned everything you need to learn in this life, is the moment you no longer are needing to be in this life. That's when you leave this life. So you learn, whether you acknowledge it or not, you learn until your very last breath. I like you too. I like you too. Define finding yourself. Exactly. Exactly. What does it mean to find yourself? I know for me, there's different fractals of who I am. I had to be in a freaking RV for 2.5 years to understand this, to understand there were so many layers of me that needed to be shed. So many layers, so much time. And I'm still shedding. I'm still shedding all of these perceptions of who I'm supposed to be in accordance with other people's perception of who I should be. And I think that that's what ends up really screwing people up, is that they try to be the person that other people expect them to be. And you're really supposed to just be who you are. Just be who you are. You are who you are. You don't have to try anything. You just are who you are. Melissa says, because I'm now realizing that the finding is a journey and it isn't a final destination. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly, Melissa. Exactly. Thank you, Troy. He says, you're making positive changes. Thank you. Monica Rose, she says, that's what my man taught me, to stop being so aggressive. I learned to be nice. I didn't learn to be nice. I remembered, because I realized at a certain point at the core of me, I'm a nice person. I really, really am. I'm recognizing that I have this image of myself that's really not even who I am. I'm more than just a product of my environment. And when I get aggressive, when I become combative and really ready to, you know, establish my alpha dominancy, because I can get like that. If you force me to, at this point, I don't choose to be that way. You have to force me to be that way. But if you attempt to dominate me, I will show you I am an alpha energy and I will dominate this fucking space. But until that's triggered, I'm just like, no, you're totally free to be yourself. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You have to try real hard to trigger me in that way. Real hard. And so I recognize that, like, if you're going out of your way to get this response from me, is it really wrong of me to give that to you? Is that a moment of lack of compassion for someone else? Or is that me giving you what you want, which is a reflection of the ugly that you're putting out? And I mean, I don't quite have all the answers for these thoughts, these questions yet, but I'm definitely developing some solid theories for myself. Let's see. There are boundaries. We have hard and soft boundaries. At least I do. Yeah, me too. Me too. Charlene says, I understand that, having a distorted understanding of love, and I've been so programmed that I have to love me first or no one else can love me, that I have convinced myself it's best to stay single. You know, I don't think so. I don't think so. The notion that you have to love you first or no one else can love you. I'm still not able to love me first all the time. Still to this day. I know there's some sort of assumption that I have my shit together. I'm so spiritually advanced or some shit. I don't even know. I see the truth of who I am. I'm a fucking hot mess that's evolving. An evolving hot mess. And I don't know. I don't know about that. That until I love myself first, that no one can love me. I've loved everyone else first, and my husband's been able to love me completely, unconditionally, wholeheartedly, without wavering for 20 years. I'm living proof that that's not true. You know, was it my intention to be living proof of that? No. It's not, but I'm living proof that that's possible. And it's this realization that as I've been so busy loving on everyone else, I've really, really relied on my husband to always rein me back in and be like, look, you need some loving. Sit down. You need a back rub. You need to eat. You haven't eaten all day. Work can wait. Whoever needs you can wait. Right now, I need you to sit down and eat and take a moment to just breathe, because your attitude is going sour. So yeah. Sometimes you need someone else to get your worth. Yeah. And yes, Cheryl Walker, are we all an evolving hot mess? Absolutely. Sometimes a cold mess. Yes, Melissa. I fluctuate between hot and cold messes. Hot and cold messes. But yeah, and living in an RV definitely will help you learn these things in a very accelerated way. Definitely. It will bring to the surface quite a bit about you and whoever you choose to do this journey with. It definitely will. Yeah. You definitely don't wait until I'm hangry, because by then people gonna get hurt. People gonna get hurt. You're gonna lose not just a finger, but the whole freaking arm. Bite that off. The whole freaking arm. Yeah, hangry does bring out the GER in everyone. Honey, what do you want to share about our RV journey? What did you learn? I know, like, your perception shifted the time we got deployed to Mexico. Yes. Wear gloves. When you take care of the tanks, wear gloves. The black tank is just do the black tank first and then empty the gray, because the gray will wash out the chunks. Don't wear nice shoes. I think being open to the differences in mindsets of the different regions of this country or wherever you travel is also very important. Is very, very important. Oh my gosh, guys. I think, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever go in an RV again. We were in it for so long and space was so limited. Maybe if we get a newer RV with our RV didn't have slide outs. It did not have slide outs. Okay, guys. So now, with the way most RVs are, they have slide outs to widen your living space, give you more square footage. An important thing, if you're considering living in a conversion, like you're converting a bus or whatever, or purchasing an older RV, many RV parks have an age restriction. Okay. Your RV can only be something like 10 years old or newer, or they won't allow you to stay. If you have an older RV, they will not allow you to stay. If you have a conversion, most RV parks will not allow you to stay. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about becoming a spiritual nomad, exploring yourself as you explore the landscape. That's something to keep in mind. You can purchase state park passes. It's for a whole year. Every state you have to purchase differently in every state. And that typically gets you free entrance. Now, here's the thing. If they have RV hookups in a state park, not only are you paying for the hookup for every night, you're also paying for the parking access every night. So if you have that state park pass, that's an extra like $7 a day that you don't have to pay. Okay. Some parks is like 15, $20. It depends on what state, but that's definitely something to keep in mind. There's memberships that you can purchase. These memberships have a grouping of various RV parks that participate. And for something like $500 a year, you can stay for 2-week periods at a time at each of these locations for free. It's included with your membership. So there's things like that. You can definitely swing this. If you're low on money, you can still swing this. For the most part, if you stay for less than a month at a place, and usually they keep it down to 2 weeks, but for the longer duration places, if you stay for less than a month, all of your electric and water are included in that fee. Now, if you stay for a month or longer, then they tend to charge you to be there, plus you have to pay utilities on top. So that's something to consider. There's places, like there was a place in Texas, it was $200 a month to have your RV there, to live there. $200 a month, which is cheap as fuck. And then of course, you got to pay your electric and water extra, but that really just depends on how much you consume. So it's feasible. It's feasible, if you're going to purchase an RV to live in, don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. You're not going to get qualified for a loan. They need to know they can find you. Don't tell them that. Don't tell the insurance that. Don't tell the RV dealership that. You're just getting a recreational vehicle to be recreational in. You don't tell them that. So